Have you ever wondered why you can spend 8 solid hours in bed but still wake up feeling totally emotionally volatile, or maybe just completely physically drained? We tend to think of sleep as this passive state, like you're just powering down a computer for the night. But actually, the truth is so much more fascinating than that. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a journey deep into the hidden operating system of your own biology. We're going to uncover a highly active, incredibly sophisticated biological machine that is secretly dictating literally everything, from your physical aging to your emotional resilience, all while your eyes are closed.
So it really brings up the ultimate question. What invisible biological forces are shaping the quality of your life every single day? See, we often chase health through these isolated habits, right? A new diet, a grueling workout routine, but we totally ignore the foundational blueprint underneath it all. What if there's a hidden architect actually constructing your mind and body every single night? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the architecture of sleep itself. When we fall asleep, we don't just drop into one big, flat state of unconsciousness. Not at all. We actually plunge into this highly structured, evolutionary sequence. It operates in these beautiful cycles of about 90 minutes. We transition from light sleep in stages N1 and N2 all the way down into the deep, delta wave sleep of N3, and then eventually we come back up into rapid eye movement or REM sleep. And here's the key. Each of these stages is an actively biological phase. They're performing entirely different, highly specialized tasks that keep you alive. So let's look a bit closer at the most physically restorative of these stages. Section 1. Deep sleep, the body's nightly restoration phase.
Okay, so think of your body as a high-performance engine. This phase, this is when it goes into the shop. Your brain achieves its recovery through a massive rhythmic cycle. First, during what we call the up state, there's this intense burst of synchronized electrical firing all across the cortex. But then comes the down state, and this is wild. It's a split second of absolute cellular silence. This profound biological quiet, repeating over and over again, is the absolute requirement for your body to physically heal.
And as surprising as it sounds, during this specific phase, your overall brain metabolism and cerebral blood flow drop massively. We're talking about 25 to 40% compared to when you're awake. The highly evolved brain regions that carry that heavy cognitive load of decision-making all day long, they finally get to power down. And while they cool off, a completely bizarre and honestly unbelievable cleaning mechanism kicks into high gear.
Enter the glymphatic system. During deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink. They physically contract. And doing this creates space, allowing fluid to rush in like a high-pressure power washer. It just flushes out the metabolic toxins that built up while you were awake. And this includes beta amyloid, which is a protein heavily linked to Alzheimer's disease. Without enough deep sleep, this nightly cleaning cycle just fails, and it allows those toxins to silently accelerate cognitive decline over the years.
But wait, this phase isn't just a cleaning service. It's also the ultimate save button for your mind. Throughout the day, your hippocampus is gathering all these fragile short-term memories. Then, during deep sleep, these massive, slow brainwaves act like file managers. They coordinate with short bursts of electricity to group all this data together, and then they transfer these memories out of fragile storage and right into the neocortex for permanent, long-term safekeeping. You are literally securing the narrative of your life while completely unconscious. But physical repair and data storage, well, that's really only half the story. What about your emotional survival?
Section 2. REM, the emotional architect. Processing and pruning the mind.
Once those physical repairs are secured, the cycle shifts into a bizarre paradox: rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. Your body becomes totally paralyzed, yet your brain activity accelerates so much that it looks almost identical to an awake brain. Why? Well, let's consider something we've all experienced. Why do negative, really overwhelming emotions usually feel way less intense after a good night's sleep? What exactly is happening in the dark that takes the edge off our daily anxieties?
Here is the neurochemical magic. When you enter REM sleep, your brain completely shuts off the release of norepinephrine. That's a major stress chemical. So the amygdala, which is your brain's emotional threat center, is essentially disarmed. Your brain then replays the emotional memories from your day, but in a chemical environment that is completely stripped of stress. It literally strips the raw, visceral pain away from the memory overnight. This is what allows you to wake up able to cope calmly rather than just reacting defensively.
And REM isn't just an emotional buffer. It is an active, ruthless editor of your neural networks. During REM, the brain is actively pruning away weak, unnecessary synaptic connections. It systematically weakens the background noise of the day, while simultaneously strengthening the connections you actually need. By pruning away all that mental clutter, REM sleep optimizes your brain for creative problem solving the very next morning.
Section 3. The sleep deprivation cascade, when the operating system fails.
So, what happens when this finely tuned system is disrupted? What are the real-world implications of shortchanging this basic biological requirement? Just look at our metabolic health. Studies show that suppressing slow-wave sleep for just 3 nights drops your body's sensitivity to insulin so severely, it's medically comparable to gaining 20 to 30 pounds of body weight. Just 3 nights. Let that sink in.
The clinical data here is staggering. When researchers compared normal sleep to just 4 or 5 hours of restricted sleep, they saw dual failures. First, your cells stop responding to insulin effectively. And second, your pancreas loses its ability to produce enough insulin to compensate for that. It is a direct, accelerated path toward type 2 diabetes and overall metabolic syndrome.
And this is where we see the ultimate interconnected cascade I mentioned earlier. Missing sleep alters your hunger hormones. Those hormones shift your mood. That mood forces your nervous system into a chronic state of fight or flight stress. That stress triggers systemic inflammation, and that inflammation silently, persistently accelerates your biological aging. It flows from one system directly into the exact next. It's all connected.
Emotionally, lacking REM sleep essentially cancels your nighttime therapy. Cortisol spikes. The amygdala remains completely hyperactive. You lose your coping skills. And honestly, this is exactly why you might snap at your partner or feel totally overwhelmed by a simple email after a bad night's sleep. A brain without REM is basically trapped in a state of emotional emergency.
But here's the profoundly hopeful science. The damage isn't permanent. A clinical trial actually showed that adults who habitually slept less than 6 hours were able to reverse significant metabolic damage by extending their sleep by just 1 single hour. Just 1 hour. It reduced their insulin resistance and enhanced their body's ability to manage blood sugar. By simply giving the operating system a little bit more time to run, your body immediately begins to heal itself.
Section 4. The emergent nature of health, connecting the biological dots.
Which brings us to the ultimate synthesis. We've explored brainwaves, hormones, and cellular cleansing today. But the real revelation is how they all connect. Health is not a collection of separate habits. Health is the emergent result of countless interconnected biological processes occurring every moment of every day. Sleep is not a luxury, and it definitely isn't passive. It is the foundational operating system dictating your entire future.
Every night, your biology goes to work constructing the person you will be tomorrow, and the person you'll be 10 years from tomorrow. So, if sleep is the invisible architect of your mind and body, what blueprint are you handing it tonight? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating science with me in this explainer. Until next time, respect the operating system.